Good morning, hello, and welcome to the 5th episode of our Workflows webinar series. This week's focus is on our private client workflows. My colleague and one of Osprey's case management developers, Alex, will take you through the what, whys, hows of workflows, looking at how implementing the time-saving automations can help ease the pressures of your workload, improve productivity, and help create efficient and streamlined processes that will benefit you, your firm, and your client. Before I hand over to Alex, I want to let you know that the Q&A feature is open at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you do have any questions, please post them in there and we'll try to get around to answering them at the end of the webinar. If we don't have time, one of our support team will get back to you. So without any further delay, I'll hand over to Alex to get started.
Thanks, Amy. So yeah, talking about private client today, and the workflows have been designed to assist you with drafting forms, retaining information and preparing letters quicker and easier. So the purpose of workflows is to increase the profitability by saving time using automated and efficient processes, which in turn will increase productivity and help with managing time. So for those of you that don't know what a workflow is, they're designed to take the user through a whole matter, breaking it down into specific tasks and actions. So for example, a file opening task can be created together with a file closing task and everything in between. An action within a task could be to run a questionnaire to capture data, or to run a letter template which pulls through that data automatically, or record an important date against a matter. And using that in conjunction with our client web portal and deal room, workflows can be web enabled. So the web portal is a convenient and secure way to share documents and updates on a case with clients and third parties. So what do we have available in terms of private client? We have a wills workflow, and that goes through full instructions, and we have a questionnaire at the very start of that. I'll give you some brief information about it. So we have a questionnaire at the start of that for clients completion. That can be done either through the portal as a web-enabled questionnaire, or a paper copy can be provided as a Word document, again, either through the portal or by post, depending on your client's needs. And that's designed to get their information, their assets, and so on. We also cover LPAs, so that deals with dealing with the forms themselves. That's an update that we're currently doing. So we're adding in the forms so that they will be completed for you. The names and party details and so on will be pulled through. But also if you need a medical report, so that can also be catered for within the workflow. And then finally, we've got probate, and that's one that I'll be talking most about today. So in terms of what's contained within the workflows, something that we use in all of our workflows are questionnaires, and they allow you to enter data against a matter. So you can see here in this example, we've got bank details and we've got executor details, just a small snippet from one task within the workflow. So in the probate workflows, you'll be entering these details, executors, beneficiaries, banks, building societies, and so on. And you'll capture that information at the start, but you'll also have the opportunity to rerun any of those tasks if you need to update the information. But tasks will also cater for information that you get during the transaction. So anything you don't have at the start, there'll be a point within the workflow where it prompts you to enter that information when you would have it available. And once the data has been entered, you'll be able to then pull it through into document production. So again, throughout the workflows, there's a set of standard precedent letters, for example, this one here, writing to NatWest, requesting the value of the accounts at the date of death. So lots of template letters are contained within the workflows, and they pre-populate using the data that you've added at the start of the matter through those questionnaires. Something else that we've included within the workflows, as I mentioned, we're doing the forms for LPAs. We also include the full IHT 400 suite and the IHT 205 form. So all the forms that you will need in a probate matter are already in the workflow, and they are mapped using questionnaires and so on. So to complete a form, all you'll need to do is run through the task in the workflow for it, and they're all set out individually. So you pick on the task that you need. In my example here, you can see I've got an IHT 406. It will go through all of the questions in the form, and using criteria, it won't ask you any of the questions that you would ordinarily skip. So any of the, if the answer is yes, skip to the next question, or skip to a question further down the page. So as you can see, and I mentioned it's an IHT 406 here, this is a relatively new function that we added specifically for the probate workflows. It's called a multi-record dossier page, and that sounds a bit wordy, but what it does is it allows you to click on the Add Record button that you can see on the left side, and clicking on that prompts you to fill in the bank name, the account number, and the amount held. And obviously there are lots of methods of, well, applications for this new function, but of course it works really nicely for probate where you may have 2 bank accounts, or if you're working on a large probate matter, you could have several. So you add in what you need, and that translates then to the form. One thing to note about this is that it is only available when using the workflows via our probate case management app. That's an app specifically focused to probate work. And at the end of the presentation, I'll briefly explain how you can access the app if you're not already using it. So moving on to the form itself, there's a separate task for this within the workflow. So once you've completed all the information, and I appreciate some of that information might be drip fed to you, so you may not have it all at once. So you enter your information through the initial data collection task for each form. And then you'll go to another task in the workflow, which runs all of the IHT schedules where you've completed information. So if you've completed your IHT 406 but haven't entered information on one of the other forms, that form won't run. So you can see in the screenshot here, we've got question 1 from the form. All the bank accounts previously entered have been mapped into the form, and the total value has been calculated. The calculation was done behind the scenes rather than you having to do it manually, and of course this provides obvious time savings. So at no point in any of the IHT forms will you have to do a manual calculation. The same goes for the IHT 400 form itself. All of the calculations are performed in the background, and there's absolutely no user input in terms of how that works. That's all done for you. So going on then to estate accounts, something again that we've automated. Within the probate focused app, you'll see we've got a little button under case management, estate accounts. So all you need to do is click onto the estate accounts button. The data is then exported to an Excel spreadsheet that can be saved back into matter history, and that can be then shared with the executors. And you can do that through the portal if you so choose. But from the information that's been previously input in the IHT 406 task, you can see here that the bank accounts and their values have been mapped into the spreadsheet. What we've also done is allow for you to add in a realised value. So for example, if a house is sold, perhaps it's sold for slightly more or slightly less than the estimate, you can add in the actual value that was received, and that also imports to the estate accounts. So moving on to some sort of general functions within Osprey, not specific to the workflows, but included, we have key dates. So you can use key dates to create reminders and diary entries for you and for your clients if you're using the web portal. So publishing dates to the web portal for your client to see, and retaining dates within Osprey and your Outlook calendar for internal reminders. You can receive a response. Well, here we've got an example of receiving a response from a bank. You can see the key date's been entered, and it's been met because the little green dot next to it is green and not red. So it's a really nice and easy way of keeping on top of important dates, but you could also hide those from your client. You don't need to publish them. What you might want to publish to the web portal is something, say, for example, like Executor 1 ID outstanding, and then your client can see that, and it will hopefully prompt them into remembering to do things for you. So to go onto our web portal and the deal room to explain a little bit about that, the method behind it is that you can securely send documents and updates to clients. As much or as little can be sent to the web portal as you like, but it is a convenient way for clients to manage and view documents and to keep track of the progress of their case. All of the workflow documents come web enabled automatically, so it's really easy for you to publish them to the web portal if you want to. Of course, it's absolutely up to you, and very much in terms of private client down to how your client wants to access information as to whether you use this. But it's also useful if you need to send documents to third parties and receive them too. For example, if you've got executors spread across the country, instead of sending 3 copies of a letter out to different areas, you can just upload 1 copy to the portal. They can all have access. And it just makes it a little bit easier for people to see and manage that information that you're sending. Very briefly, I'll just mention bundles. It won't apply to all of you. Those of you who do contentious probate, you can now use the app to assist with creating bundles. So if you haven't already seen it in the case management app, you'll notice on the left-hand side, we now have a case bundles option in the menu, and that allows you to add a bundle against the client you're working on. Once you've added it, you can access the matter history to select documents to add to the bundle. You can create folders as you would in a physical bundle. And as you add documents into the bundle, you'll give them a process date, and that'll be the date, say an order was made or a statement was signed and so on. And that ensures that the documents will be in the correct date order within the bundle. So after you've added what you need, all you need to do is click on the download bundle button that you can see on screen, and the PDF version will be created. And within that PDF, there are links between the sections in the documents, and the pages are automatically paginated, and there should be no need for you to do any editing once the bundle has been downloaded. And it also quite nicely creates the index for you. So again, nothing for you to do with the bundle once it's been downloaded. And I mentioned the portal. You could publish your bundle to the portal and let counsel have access to it that way. It saves you. I remember I used to be a family lawyer, so I remember scanning my bundles in and emailing them in small sections, but using the portal, we could just upload the whole thing and give access to counsel to it in that way. And of course it's secure, so it's a much better way of sending sensitive information. A final thing to note about the workflows is the fact that they're customizable. So it's possible to add, edit, or remove any of the actions within the workflow so that they meet your firm's requirements. Our support team are available to give you free remote training sessions on how to use and edit workflows. And we also have a support portal where you can view a collection of the written guides in your own time if you want to. And finally, in terms of how we keep our workflows up to date and how we create new workflows. So we've got a sync tool, and that's a relatively new function that we've developed. The purpose of it is to allow us to push updates to workflows to our clients without overwriting any changes that they've made themselves. So that means you can still benefit from new features without worrying about your customization being lost. One example of this is, say, for example, most clients want to use their own client care letter. So that's something that you might want to change. You might not want to use our template, but that will be retained, and any changes like that when we update any forms, and so we push out a new version of the workflow to you. At the moment, we're currently the only legal software provider who's able to do this. That's quite nice too. And in terms of how we keep up to date, we've got a whole team of people who are constantly working on the workflows, and that enables us to keep on top of things and make sure that we've got up-to-date forms and so on. And in terms of how you import them, our support staff are able to give a more in-depth demo of any of the workflows. And if you want to have them imported, you can just contact our support team. It's very quick and easy to have a workflow imported. They usually run the import overnight, so the workflow will be ready for you to use first thing the next day. So just finally then, in terms of how you get the probate app, the easiest thing to do, and this is an update that was released, I think, possibly only last week, this week, very, very new anyway, is using the browser version of Osprey. So if you're still in the browser version, all you need to do is click on the little eye on the left-hand menu, which you'll already be familiar with. The eye is new, click on that, and you'll see out pops the complete list of the case management apps that are available. So I've highlighted the probate app here, the one next to it in black, that's actually a wills app. But the probate app has the specific function for preparing the estate accounts. So as opposed to using the generic case management app, you would want to use the probate app so you can take advantage of the estate accounts function. So all you need to do is click on the icon. If you have the application installed already, it will open it and you won't have to log in again. If you don't have it, it will prompt you to install it, and it will just download and install on your computer. So nice and simple to do. The only other way of doing it is to go through the Microsoft Store and to download it from there. But since you're already logged into Osprey, this is by far the easiest way of doing it. And you can see there's an install button if you just want to install the whole lot. And so that's a whistle-stop tour of our probate workflows. So I will hand back over to Amy, who will deal with any questions that we've had in.
Thanks, Alex. That was great. Just a couple of questions. So someone has asked, I'm a fee earner in my department. How do I get the workflows added to Osprey?
That's a good one. So usually you will have a nominated person within your firm who deals with kind of liaising with us. If you speak to that person, explain to them why you want it and get them to get in touch, we'll be able to set up a demonstration for you or for your whole department, entirely up to you as to how you want to do that, and then we can take things from there.
Perfect, thank you. Second question, how can I view the workflows in more detail?
So on our support portal website, we have what we call workflow packs, and they cover all of the workflows across all areas that we currently cover. So we have family, personal injury, and so on. The workflow packs set out the workflows and the tasks and individual actions within the task, so you can see absolutely everything that goes into a workflow. And there are also copies of all the templates in there, so you can see all of the letter templates, how they're worded, and you can see the forms that are available as well.
Perfect. I guess that makes it a great starting point for planning what needs to be switched out, what needs to be customised.
Yes, exactly.
And the last question, I haven't used the app before. Can I get training on it?
Yes, you can. So training is available via our support team. As part of your contract, you're eligible for free remote training, so everybody can get that. All you need to do is contact the support team through the email or on the phone, and someone will book that in for you. We tend to do training sessions morning and afternoon, so you can have training on any aspect of the app you want, and our support team are always happy to help with any general queries you have as things crop up.
Perfect. And somebody just asked, is there a cost in order to get the apps, I'm assuming, or maybe to get the workflows? Is that included in their current?
In terms of the app, everybody is able to use the app. That's free to download, so there's no cost involved in downloading the app. All you need to do is simply go to the Microsoft Store or via the browser, as I explained, and that would just be free for you to download. In terms of the workflows themselves, we would need to check the person's license just to make sure that that's covered within the license fee.
Sure, yeah, and our support team will
take offline. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. We'll get back in touch with that person, but our support team will be able to let you know what's available and what can be downloaded at any time.
Yes.
So that's the final question. So I want to say thank you to Alex for the presentation, and thank you for everybody for joining us today. I just want to let you know that our Workflows webinar series is continuing and will be every Thursday at 10 o'clock for the next few weeks. Next Thursdays is employment, so tune in if you also work in that area. And we've got our final integrations webinar on Tuesday, which is with Cojute, a great new partner for us dealing with the conveyancing sector. So again, if you work in that area, or if you've got your colleagues, make sure that they check in on that. It'll help them understand how they can save valuable time. It's a really exciting one because it's brand new for all of us. So make sure you check that one out. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.